So this is Leigh Charles, the martial arts success guy, and recently a topic came up about how important is having some sort of belt or ranking scenario for your martial arts business. And a few comments have been made. I know there's some great instructors out there even making it a consideration. Could they get rid of the ranks? Well, just before you do that, I want to touch on retention, because that's what really it's all about, is retention. Now, there's a number of reasons to keep the ranking system inside your martial arts business. For starters, number one, if you don't have a ranking system, you're nothing more than running a basic house club. There is no genuine incentive to keep your students there in the long term. What do I mean by that? Well, if you think about it, this is a human nature trait. We're all starving for some kind of recognition. And before you say, oh no, we're not, my self-esteem's in perfect tact, hold on a second. If you're watching this right now and you run a martial arts school, you've probably got a black belt, or you should have at least one in one system. And that means, guess what? You were starving for some sort of recognition at some point, just as I was. So as you progress through the ranks, and then some of us, it's even more. We become OCD with it. We want to become a champion and become obsessed with becoming a champion, or a national champion, a local, national, international, world champion, right? Maybe right, maybe wrong. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. Maybe I'm just reflecting my feelings. And the things, of course, is the thousands of students I've taught, and of course the thousands of martial arts school owners that run successful businesses. Now, let's go back to my point. You ready? The belt system is essential for your martial arts business to improve retention. The best way to improve retention is this. Write this down. It's the best way. Hands down, and I'll beat anyone, stand next to anyone, talk about this business till I'm blue in the face to anyone and prove this fact. Write it down. You ready? The more they pay, the longer they will stay in your martial arts business. The more they pay, the longer they stay. Come on, Master Child, you can't be serious. It can't be as fickle as just the more they pay, in which case, let's get rid of our ranking system, right? Let's just make them all pay. Well, you're right. If they all paid in full for a program, then they will be much, much, much more likely to stay longer in your program. Why? Well, for number one is they paid for it already. Number two is they don't have to find the money ever again. Sometimes when there's good times or bad times, they can go do a workout for free. So that is the number one way. The other thing what keeps students training, that probably kept you training, and this is what's so amazing. These people go through these transitions where you become a black belt for so long, you forget how important it was in the beginning of your training that you attained your next level, your next belt recognition. I remember when I first started, in 6 weeks I double graded on my very first testing, which may or may not have been the catalyst for me staying in the martial arts my whole life, still training to this very day, 30 plus years later. Oof, don't want to make myself sound too old out there. So, simple answer to your question, the number one way is retention. The number two way is to make sure that you have regular testings. Now, I know there's jiu-jitsu styles that don't grade you to black belt for 2 decades or something ridiculous like that. And people say, well, you become a belt factory. Look, I'm not a brain surgeon, but just imagine this. Imagine if it said, took 10 years to black belt, and you got no other belts, you just trained for 10 years, and then at the 10th year, if you were good enough, your instructor gave you a belt. Now, that would be one way to run a school. Or how about this? How about you actually have a testing every 6 months and have 20 belts? What difference does it make to the quality of the student? You know what? Doesn't make any difference, does it? Still takes the same amount of time to reach that pinnacle level of black belt. Now, can you see how that makes just logical sense? You're not a belt factory. You're just breaking down the whole system into incremental steps so that your students, who are the most important people in your martial arts school, get to feel some sense of progression. Because without progression, they will quit your school. They'll quit a lot slower if they've paid in advance, mind, but they will still quit your school. So there it is, the short version. Be warned, do not, and I mean do not, remove the ranking or bout system. My recommendation is you increase it. Don't decrease it. Don't take out bouts. Add more bouts. Test them more frequently so they get visual signs of recognition along their way. You really want to run a successful business, you really want to improve retention in school, add more bouts. Do testings more frequently. I'm not saying give the bouts away. If you rewind this video, go back just a few moments ago, I explained. Think about it. At 12 months you could have 4 bouts, at 12 months you could have 6 bouts. The difference being is you will keep your students longer. Why? Because they have more visual signs of progression. In your whole life these days, you and me included, very, very few people give us compliments. We're starved of recognition. You're starved of significance. And for a few extreme of us, we're consultants or we're consistently out excuse me, in the public eye, so we may get more or less recognition than others. But most people, think about it, do their job and never get a pat on the back. Their boss never tells them what a great job they did. You know, we are truly blessed to be martial arts instructors and to be leaders in our community. Let's share that blessing. No one out there, very, very few people can go years and years to training at something with no visual forms of recognition. That's common sense. It's human nature. And that's what I love about our teaching here. My teachings, my business school teachings, are based upon human nature. It can't be beaten. It cannot be beaten. So I hope that helps. Keep your ranking system. In fact, don't keep it, improve it. Oh, and lastly, if this all isn't enough, there's one other reason to make sure that you keep your bout ranking system. Ready for this? You can charge for testing fees. You know, that probably only accounted for, I don't know, probably $100,000 a year extra, pure net profit from teaching the same people over and over again. And yes, you should charge for testing and not build it into your tuition fee. I've got a whole host of things and reasons why. I'm not going to discuss that on this video. I hope that helps, folks. Please don't make this terrible, terrible mistake. Again, Leigh Charles, the martial arts success guy. Oh, that was easy for me to say. Owner of 62 schools in the past. Tens of thousands of students progressed from my schools. Hundreds of thousands gone from my student schools. All of which work most effectively, most profitably, and most importantly to the benefactor of the students. Remember, that student that quits, you're not helping anymore. And if you're truly passionate about your martial arts, which you should be, then you want to keep your students training forever. As always, Leigh Charles wishing you sincerely every success and hoping that you keep smiling, keep training, and most importantly, of course, keep signing those students up. We'll see you on the next video. Take care.